Buongiorno e benvenuti. My name is Giovanna and I welcome you to my kitchen on the cliff. Woo! Today we're going to make gnocchi. Beloved gnocchi. Everybody loves them, but everybody thinks that they're too difficult to make. They're not. I'm going to show you and simplify it, and I hope that you all try to make them. Gnocchi are a humble dish. The ingredients couldn't be simpler. Potatoes, flour, eggs, and some salt. So I will take it step by step so that I will encourage you to make gnocchi. So to get started, we're going to wash the potatoes. In the book, I boil them, and of course you can boil them. But since I wrote the book, I prefer to steam them because they're not waterlogged. Sometimes they get waterlogged, although I do cook them in their skins. But still, I prefer to cook them in the steamer. And I have a beautiful steamer, I'll show you. All right, this is my steamer, okay? And this is the pot. So we're going to fill the pot with water, half full. We're going to put the steamer on top. We're going to wash the potatoes. Now let's turn gas on. We'll turn it on high until it begins to boil. We're going to put the cover on. When it begins to boil, and you know that when the steam starts coming out, you lower the heat, make sure that it keeps boiling, and we cook it for 45 minutes. For those of you who've been watching Kitchen on the Cliff for some time, you know that these are my two books. Today's recipe comes from the cooking of Emilia-Romagna, which is one of the regions that has a superb kitchen together with Sicily. But that book is currently out of print. If enough of you request this book, I will see what we can do to get it published again. So please, write in the comments asking for that book. Thank you very much for inquiring. Now let's check on the potatoes. These have steamed for 45 minutes. We're going to check them to be sure that they're done through and through. Here we are. The knife goes easily in, so they're done. The potatoes have cooled about 15 minutes and I could handle them. So I'm going to peel them. Of course, they peel so easily. It's much less work than peeling them raw, you know. Potatoes are so good. You know, all you have to do is boil them and slice them and put some good olive oil, a sprinkle of salt, and maybe a sprinkle of oregano if you like it. And it's just delicious. As a matter of fact, my mother used to make it all the time, used to make a salad. She would boil a couple of potatoes and a couple of onions, and then cut the onions in quarters and cut the potatoes in slices and dress them with olive oil, salt, and a little oregano, and they were delicious. Right, we're going to, this is how I do it. This I can do because I can put my whole weight.
It's like a giant garlic press.
Yes, yes.
So what would you do if you didn't have one of these?
If you didn't have one of those, you can try one of these. This is the way it should be done because this makes it very, very, very small. Okay, let's do it with the potato masher. Let's see if we can get it as fine as this. This is the way we used to do it. We just do it over and over again to be sure that they are really, really smooth and small. So as you do it, keep gathering it. Okay, I'm just doing it over and over again. Okay. All right, now we're going to actually make the gnocchi. We're going to add 1 cup of flour, which should be enough, but if it's not enough, we'll add a little bit more. And now we're going to mix it. I'm going to give it a very good mix, and we want everything to be mixed thoroughly. So now we're going to add a little more flour, but we're going to add it 1/4 cup at a time. You know, recipes can't be too precise because it depends on how wet the potatoes are, how big the eggs are. If the egg is bigger, it'll give more liquid. So all of that has to be taken into account. So that's why in an Italian cookbook, it will say QB, which means quanto basta, and I've said this before. Quanto basta means as much as is enough. Well, you know, that's tricky because you have to know by feel how much is enough. The quality you should look for are that it not be so sticky that you can't manipulate the dough. I'm going to take some flour and flour the surface. So we're taking one of the pieces of dough and we're going to make a rope out of it. Okay, I'm making a rope. The bench has to be well floured. You see it? Now we take that bench scraper and we're going to cut it into about 1-inch pieces. Okay, so now this is a cavatelli board. You press lightly and it makes one gnocco. You know, with the 2 fingers you make a hole, and then when you pull it through the board, you create ridges which will absorb the sauce in a nice way. They're worth all the trouble. That was 13, which is a lucky number. In Italian, I know. 13 is not a lucky number in English. And stupidly, they don't have a 13th floor in many buildings, thinking that because you don't put the number, there's no 13th floor. You can serve these with all kinds of sauces, from a bechamel sauce, to a simple tomato sauce, to a marinara sauce, to a caper sauce, to a bolognese sauce. You can use a pesto. If you make pesto genovese, it's the pesto made with basil and parmigiano and olive oil. But if you make the pesto from Sicily, it's going to be made with pistachios. Equally delicious. Whatever you have in the pantry, you can make a sauce out of. Now, one of the things that you can do with this, too, is after you've put whatever sauce you want, you can take some breadcrumbs and toast them with a little bit of olive oil and sprinkle them on top. Our neighbors to the north of Italy do that. They put breadcrumbs. Of course, if you engage your grandchildren, your neighbors, your guests, your friends, and you make a party out of it. Have everybody help making them, and then make a lovely big platter of these things. To dress our potato gnocchi, I'm going to make a very special sauce. It's called marjoram sauce from Emilia-Romagna. And it was taught to me by Chef Nadia Montuschi. So I would like to make this in her honor. So we need 4 tablespoons of butter, which equals to a half a stick. This is from Emilia-Romagna. The butter is abundant. We start with a battuto. In this case, it's onion and carrot. Now I've already cut the carrot in 4. Now I hold it and I just cut it directly into the pot. I can do this faster like this against my thumb than I can on a cutting board. This is the battuto, which means the initial vegetables that you fry to get maximum flavor for your sauce. We're going to give it a quick mix and let the butter work its magic. This sauce is made with sausage, and the next thing I'm going to do is to take the casing off the sausage. Okay? Taking the casing off the sausage. Right, I'm adding a fresh bay leaf to the battuto, and we'll let it cook in the butter. Remember, we cook with all our senses, so we wait to smell the bay leaf. All right, I'm smelling. Are you smelling the bay leaf? I'm smelling it for you. Okay, now we're going to add the sausage. We've taken it out of the casing. We're going to add it to the pot. And we're going to stir and sort of separate it. The meat has to brown, and particularly when it makes little bits that stick to the bottom, that's all flavor. Here's a tool that is made to separate meat when you make any kind of meat sauce where you want the chopped meat or the sausage to be separated. So you use this, very, very nifty. Now, this calls for tomato puree. These are peeled whole tomatoes. If I want puree, I put it in the food processor and I puree it. I don't feel like putting it in the processor today, so I'm just going to crush it right in the can. Now I'm going to put this in. This is now my spoon holder. We're going to add 1 cup of beef broth, chicken broth, or water. We need salt and pepper to taste, so we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. Okay, we're going to add some pepper. Keep it on high until it boils. And now we're going to lower the heat to a simmer. And we're going to cover it. And we're going to cook it for 45 minutes. So here's a marjoram. So what you do is you hold the stem at the tip and you strip it this way. You see what I'm doing? And that way you get none of the tough stem. It's been 45 minutes. We put the water up for the gnocchi. I'm going to add the marjoram leaves to the sauce. Oh, I can smell it again. So, the water is boiling. Once the water boils, you add the salt. It's okay if you add the salt before, but know that if you add it before, it'll take longer for the water to boil. The water should be like seawater. Now we take the gnocchi. You see why we use the towel? I'll show you. Now we're going to add them. Come on. Woo! Almost. Okay, the gnocchi are in the boiling water. The water is going to come to a boil again, and the gnocchi are going to come to the surface. So, what we're going to do is, as they come to the surface, we're going to fish them out. As soon as they come to the surface, they're done. We don't put these in a colander because they're too delicate. We take them out with a skimmer. Okay. We can turn that off. We're going to take the bay leaf out. Okay, here's a bay leaf. We're going to put the sauce on top. Now you know how to make gnocchi. So these are gnocchi with marjoram sauce.
Of course, gnocchi are made with potatoes. It looks like pasta, but it's not really pasta. If you have a problem pronouncing gnocchi, kind of ignore the G. It's a nasal N, gnocchi.
You want more sauce?
Yes, thank you.
How many
Oh, where's the parmigiano? Una pioggia di parmigiano. Questa è la pioggia di parmigiano. Okay.
In Italy, people often say the best eating is in Emilia-Romagna or at your grandmother's house. Buon appetito.
Now these can be eaten with a fork or a spoon. That's why the marriage has lasted 60 years. Because he uses a spoon and I use a fork. And we agreed, what is it? We agree not to no. We agree to disagree.
She drinks tea with milk. I like tea with lemon.
I like the dark meat of chicken, and he likes the white meat of chicken. Gnocchi are very good.
Very tasty. Just like I remember.
Thank you for watching. I hope that you try making gnocchi. I hope you like them. And grazie. E arrivederci alla prossima volta.
This makes potatoes a little more special.
Oh, I can taste the marjoram. The marjoram, you know, we put it at the very end. We didn't cook it. All we wanted to do was to release the aroma. And I can taste it right in my head. Ciao, alla prossima volta. Ciao.
Arrivederci.